All right, can you see the screen?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So this obviously is the front end of the website. So when a user goes to the website, logged in, not logged in, this is what they see.
Hmm.
So we have the banner here on top, and then we have all these different pages set up here. Um, and this is all built within i4a.
Okay.
So I'm actually on Google Chrome right now. So whenever I make web edits, I always open up a different browser. So this is Google Chrome, so I have this website open.
Okay.
Um, but then I'm gonna actually switch over to Firefox, which is where I'm logged in as an admin.
Okay.
So I always just open up two browsers just so I can see side by side what I'm actually doing. And it actually helps quite a bit just so you know what pages you're actually editing.
Okay.
So I went to content and then content manager on the top left here. And that opened up this page here. So on the left hand side, you can see all of the different pages and sub pages set up here. So I'm gonna go through the top level items and you'll see that they're pretty much identical to what we see on the top here. So we have about SVM, scientific sessions, practice tools, and we can see here that it's about the same here. So about SVM, we have scientific sessions and practice tools. So those are like the top level pages here. And so within about SVM, we have a lot of sub pages you can see,
Hmm.
and that's all set up here as well. So you can see all these sub pages. And then there's also third level pages. So if I hover over, let's say, join, you can see there's application and also renew membership.
Hmm.
Um, so it just gives you an overall idea of how it's set up here on the back end.
Gotcha.
So have you gone into this area at all while you've been on iFree, or you kind of just been
No,
paying?
not the content manager, no.
Okay. So we did have another content manager before. It was the old content manager, and it was, I'm gonna be honest, it was a little easier to manage. Um, but they recently removed that, so we only have this new content manager now. So we've all been trying to learn it a little bit.
I
Um,
got.
but it's once you get the hang of it, it's actually not that complicated and it's super easy to use. So I'll quickly go over ways to make changes to pages, and then also go over the different kinds of pages we can set up. So if I go to about SVM, and let's go to join and application. So I'm going to go to that on the back end of the website now. So we have about SVM, join, and application right over here. And you can see if I hover over it, you see the page ID is 3332.
Okay.
And if I go to the other tab, you can see on the top here, the page ID is 3332.
Mm.
So one of the easier ways to find it, if you ever can't find a page by just dragging through here, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't usually go through here and find the page. I actually search on the bottom right here. It's a
Mm.
lot easier to just type in that page ID. So we'll type in 3332 over here and click enter. And you'll see the application page comes right up.
Mm.
So when I go here, you can see on the top here, we have these different icons. So the first one here is add content. That's basically if you wanted to add a new page from scratch. This over here is, I call it the book icon. It's basically allows you to edit the content on the page. So I don't know how familiar you are with WYSIWYG editors, but if I were to click on this, it basically opens up that WYSIWYG editor. So what you see is what you get. It's
Hmm.
essentially what you see in like Word or any other CMS really, if you've used any other CMS. Just basic tools to edit your content.
Okay.
So you can see here, that's exactly what we're seeing on the front end as well. Um, and these are all linked. So if I were to click on this and go to this here, I can actually see what it's linking out to.
Mm.
So this is actually linking out to page 3415. So that's a pretty cool part about i4a is you can link out to different pages as well. So like this is actually an application that's created within i4a, and it's linking out to this specific page. So I'll show you what I mean. So if I go over here, if I hover over it on the bottom, you can see over here, it's 3415, just like we saw. So I'll click on this, and it takes me to an application form. So if I go to 3415, I'm going to cancel out of here. If I go to 3415 now on the bottom here, you'll see it's a doctorate membership form. And you see that that book icon, that WYSIWYG editor,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes disabled. So the reason for that is it's not a WYSIWYG editor. It's not actual content. It's not manual content that was entered in by a user, by staff.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, this is actually linked to a form. So if I click on this I to edit the properties, you'll see here under the content options that this is linked to a form. So choose a form to display on this page. It's linked to the doctor membership application form.
Mm.
You could even link a page to a meeting or to another type of forum. And so these forms, I don't know how familiar you are with these sections, but these forms are created within the tools and forms builder area.
Mm.
So like donation forms and even meetings you can create within this forms builder area. It's more of like a custom way to build a form. This second area is choose a meeting. So that's under the meetings and registration forms area. So this is where we usually set up the annual scientific sessions for SVM or any other kinds of meetings that they have going on. We usually set those up here as well. So if I were to click this, you can see all the meetings that are set up for SVM. And you can link out to one of those meetings if you were to want that.
Okay.
And then over here you can see the form as well. So like the donation forms that I was talking about, you can link out to those. And this last area is the application forms. So these are the application forms that are set up for SVM. I'm going to go back to the page we're looking at, so 3332. And you can see that that I icon, so that edit properties is available for the application as well, even though it's a WYSIWYG editor. So I'm gonna click on this I here. And you can see on the content options, it's linked to that WYSIWYG editor on top instead of that form. If I go to save and publish, it'll take me to that, actually it won't be. Yeah, on the older version, it did take me there, but I guess on this version, you have to actually go to the book icon, and that takes you to that WYSIWYG editor we were looking at.
Okay.
So these are the main two areas you'll be utilizing for the content options. We also have a few other options here, so you can specify a URL. So if you wanted it to link out to a specific page, you can do that here. That's unrelated to i4a. You can upload a file. So if you wanted to link it out to a PDF document, you can do that as well. And then there's a few other options here I won't go over because we don't really use those. But these are the main areas for that WYSIWYG editor. If you want to link out to a URL, a file, and then a form. And you can see that's the member application here. Any questions on the content options area?
No, looks good.
Okay, so I'll go to the basic settings. So over here, if we were to set up a page, I'll actually create a page from scratch here. So I'll click on add content. I'll just type in test page. When you do create a page, you don't have to enter in the page title if you want it to be identical to the menu item text. So It'll just use the same name, so we can leave this blank. Um, show title on page, we usually do that as yes if you want to show on the page like it is here.
Mm-hmm.
Change the status to active, or else that page won't work. When we're creating this page, setting it to active, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's showing on the website anywhere. That has to be done on a separate level. So making it active simply means that anyone with the link to this page will be able to use it. Will be able to see it and access it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always set it as active because even if it's active and I don't share the link, no one can really see it. So we always set it as active. Let's say you were to share the link and you no longer want them to see that page. In that case, yes, you would set that as inactive. So it's a scenario where you would do that. The template, you can leave that alone. We usually just leave that as no, so we don't use that master template. If you did want to use this master template, it basically just uses the page template settings for this. And actually, let me go back for a second and see what our defaults are for something like this. I'm gonna go here. I might actually use a template. No, here. Okay. No, here as well. Okay. You know what? I'll actually. Looks like we're using a little bit of. We're doing a little bit of everything. So I'm gonna actually do active. I'm actually gonna click yes, and I'll tell you why in a little bit here. Um, Content options, we'll keep the WYSIWYG editor selected.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Details, we'll leave this alone. This is why I'm actually using this template because I want to make sure it inherits this detail. So I'll see if it does that. We'll leave this alone. Access, we usually leave this to anyone, but if you did want to make it members only or to specific accounts or registrants, you can do that here. Navigation, we usually leave this alone as well. It is a little confusing, the public link and public only link. So essentially what this means is if you select this as yes, then that basically just means it's not viewable, or sorry, it is viewable when you're not logged in. So that's why we click yes, so that anyone can see it. And then we select this as no, so not viewable when logged in. So if this is selected as no, that means that if you are logged in, you can see it. So the verbiage is a little confusing, the way they set up this verbiage, but we can just leave these as the default settings to limit the confusion. Appears in mobile menu. If you did want it to appear on the mobile menu, you select this as yes. We usually do select this as yes, actually, just because you want it to appear on the website on a mobile device as well. Target window, we can leave this alone. Just opens it up in a different tab if you want that, but we can just leave this as it is. Meta tags, we don't mess with that usually. I'm hoping we will in the future, but right now we don't do any work here. Add-ons, we don't do any work here either. We can leave this alone. And then categories, this is more internal for yourself. So if you did want to link it to a certain category, it would just make it a little more organized and easier for you to find in the future. So like if it is a page specific to one of these categories, you can go ahead and add it to these. If you feel it's a separate category, you can always add a new category here as well. But we don't usually do any work here either. Honestly, when people are creating pages, I mean, ideally you should do this, but when people are usually creating pages, they are doing it in a hurried fashion. So they just enter in that page title here, and then they set it to active, and then they go ahead and save and publish. After they select the content options, we usually don't do any work within these last 6 tabs.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and, but again, I would change this one to yes. So I would do that change. Other than that, I can leave it alone. So let's go ahead and save and publish. So when you do that, just remember what you titled the page, because or else you'll have a lot of trouble finding it. And that's when that categories area comes into play. So right now I didn't add it to a certain category. So I remember that I called it, so like if you were to add it to a category, you can easily search for it here on top. But I didn't set that category, so I won't be able to find it this way. But I do know I called it test page, so I'll search on the bottom here and type in test page. And we'll see it right here. And we see this book icon becomes available because we did set it as a WYSIWYG editor. So I'll click on this. This, add a link here. And I'm actually going to go to this. Yes, we'll actually just, I'll just go ahead and save as a content. Can add different formatting here. So I'll just go ahead and save and publish. Again, save and publish doesn't mean it's on the website. It just means that it is published, so anyone with this link can see the page. So this page ID, if you want to get the URL, you would click on Get Page URL. And it gives you this ID here. So I'll copy and paste this and go to my browser. You do need to type in vascularmed.org first, and then we'll paste the rest of it. And if I enter that in, we'll see that test page that I created here. You'll see that the formatting is a little off, and the reason for that is because there is no banner being displayed on top. So that's actually why I inherited the template, but I guess that didn't work out. So click on the I here. Let's try this one. Publish. Okay. So I changed it to the home page template. So that's why we're seeing this banner here on top. You can kind of play around with this and see what template you want. So let's say maybe this one is a little better. Or maybe it's nothing. Let's test it. This is not what we want. Yeah, so this one shows no template at all, and the formatting is a little better. It doesn't show like a banner here on top. But if you did want to include a banner on your own, you can set this to no. And then under the details, you can include that header graphic here. So I'll select a file here. I actually have it saved on my desktop, that's why I'm going to use it. So I'm going to use the virtual banner that we had set up on my desktop. We'll just use the main banner and see if that works. Okay. We'll select this and click open. And we'll do save and publish. Now if I refresh this, we'll see that the banner shows up on top here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did want this to appear in the menu now, so the page is created, so anyone with this link can view this page. If you did want it to appear in one of these areas here, you could do that by clicking this page and then clicking Move to Menu. So I'll click on Move to Menu. And like it says here, it adds the page to the top of the menu. So I'll drag all the way to the top here and we'll see it on the top, the quest page. And just be careful with that because when you do move it to the menu, it does publish live on the website.
Mm-hmm.
So if I refresh this page now, it's actually appearing right over here on the live site.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I wanted it to appear within the practice tools. Let's add to a sub tab somewhere. See if there's something. All right. So education quality in the vascular lab. Let's say we want to add it here. Simply drag it. And you do have to kind of play around with it a little bit. So it drags to the bottom. And we'll add it right over here. And it automatically does save it, so that's a good thing. I'll refresh this, and that test page is gone now. And it is appearing.
It's education and then quality in the vascular lab.
There we go. Yeah, so it appears right over here.
Nice.
And you can see it has those breadcrumbs here as well, so you can see the other pages set up within this area. Obviously, we don't want this, so I'm going to go over here. And you can just simply click on this page here and right-click it and remove it, and that'll remove it from the menu. Removing it doesn't delete the page. So now if we go here, it no longer shows. But it does still exist. So if someone were to have the link to this page, they can still access it. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, awesome. And then I think we went through most of what I wanted to go through. One last area I wanted to touch on was the mobile content. So if we did have that mobile content activated, like I set to yes there on that page, then we have the ability to edit the mobile content as well. So if you don't edit this mobile content, and I would encourage you not to usually, just leave it alone. If you don't mess with this, it'll just replicate whatever's on this WYSIWYG editor. It'll replicate it on the mobile content as well.
Okay.
If you wanted it to display differently, then you would change this here and edit that content. Yeah, I think that's mostly what I wanted to go over. Any questions on making changes to certain areas?
No, I think just playing around with it, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the main thing to keep in mind is the most important thing is just if you wanted to make a change to a page, just go to the website, find the page you want to make a change to. Let's say it's the fellows course. Um, let's say you need to make a change to this page. Just look for that page ID on top, 3300, and then just head over to the content manager, and just type in 3300 here.
Sweet, sounds good.
And you should be able to easily find it and make those changes. All right. If you don't have any more questions, I will send this recording to you after we're done here. And then you can just reach out if you have any other questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Samir. I appreciate
All
it.
right. Thanks, Alex. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Bye.